Okay, welcome to part two of stacks and queues. All right, so here we have the code for an array queue and an array stack. So this is just a queue and this is just a stack, and I'm implementing them using an array. Okay, so you can implement it again. There's an implementation using a linked list or a node, and that's what you guys are going to be doing. You guys are going to be implementing these for your homework assignment. You're going to be implementing them using nodes. So okay, well let's get into let's do the stack first. So we have the stack right here, and I have the diagram still right here as well, so you guys can have a visual of what's happening. Let me just move this up so this way it's in order. And I can move this and move this here, just so that way all of our code is together. So, okay, array stack or just stack. I'm calling it array stack. You guys are going to call yours a node stack or linked list stack or whatever you like, right? So here we have our private stack that is just an array. We have the constructor, which is just going to be this, whatever this array is going to be. So here is the differences, right? So here's one of the differences with the methods that I was talking about in the last video between an array and a stack. So um, pop and push are going to be really the main differences between these two. Where this one uses add and remove, the queue uses add and remove. Array or stacks use push and pop. So pop. So what this does is this might be a little hard to read. I should have maybe chopped this up, but Splice, if you guys are familiar with if you're not familiar with Splice, I think we've gone over it earlier in the course. You can read what it does right here. And what we're doing is we are just grabbing that last element. Okay, that's what the -1 is. We're going to grab the last element, and it's going to come back as an array, and we're going to return that one element, the first element in this array, which is going to just be one element. So that might be a little confusing, but that's what that's doing. Push, well, push is just like a regular push that we've been doing in our arrays. So it's just stack dot push, and you push the item in. Peek, so peek is similar to pop, but you are not removing. Okay, peek, you're just looking at it, right? So if we call peek on this, we're just going to look at that 5. We're not going to remove it or pop it off, right? So pop would remove this 5. Okay. Um, so yeah, and again, push would push whatever you wanted, a 5 or whatever you wanted here. Peek, again, you're just peeking at the top of it. You're just looking. You're not removing it. Is empty. We're just checking if the length is 0. That's going to be true or false. Size is just going to be the length of the array. Um, and then toString, well, it's just this. You'll see when I run it what toString looks like. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and run this code. So I'm going to run this, and we'll go over what this means step by step in the console. Run code. Okay, and here it is. Um, okay, right here. Okay, so stack. If I can get it to cooperate. There we go. Stack. So that's our first line right here that we're printing out. And we are creating a stack. Well, it's going to look exactly like this is. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to toString it and we're going to console log it, and that's what this looks like. Okay, so this is just a visual of the current state of it. And then when we pop, okay, we're going to assign num as the variable, and then we're going to log pop is equal to whatever this num is. Okay, and that's going to be this first one, which is 5. Okay, so what happened is we removed this 5 here. So if we were to look at it from our diagram, we did that. Okay, that's what happened. So yeah, so then peek. Okay, if we peek at the top, well, it's going to be this 4 here. right? Because we popped off the 5 is gone, so now the top one is going to be, this is 4, right? And then the size of it is 4 as well, okay? Because there's 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is the new toString. This is the second toString that we're calling here on line 28, and this is giving us the next the state of the stack, right? After we pop off that 5. Okay, now we're going to call pop again, and we're doing the same thing. We're going to assign it to this number variable, this num variable, and this time it's going to be 4, and that's because, well, the last element is 4. Peak, peak is going to give us 3, so here I'll remove it over here as well. There we go. Okay, and yeah, and then the size is, well, size is also going to be 3 because there's 3 elements, and there you have that, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's push something. Let's do stack dot push, and I don't know. Let's push a 0. Let's see what happens. And then what we can do is we can call console. We can console log the toString method again. So let's see what this looks like. And here we are. No, that's the queue. Here we go. That's where we're at. So again, you guys know up to here. Okay, so size is 3. Here it is. And then we push the 0, and you see where the 0 ended up. The 0 ended up at the end. Okay, so that's what push does in the stack. Okay, it doesn't add it to the front, it adds it to the very back. So, okay, so there's the code for that. Study this, play around with it, see how it behaves, and yeah, because in like I said, in your assignment, you're gonna be implementing the same exact methods. It's just you're gonna be using a node class instead of an array. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the queue. So the queue, very similar. Okay, we're going to add. Add is just pushing, and again, it's going to be the same thing because we're pushing at the end. Because remember, for the queue over here, if we go put this back, let's move this down here. Okay, so for the queue, if you guys remember, we have one side that's the exit, and then we have another side that's the entrance. Okay, and this is gone. So when we do this, okay, so it's the same one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to toString it. So run it, and here it is. So here's the queue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we are going to remove, and this time, and again, this is similar to pop, but we're removing from the front, and you can see how that's implemented here. We're using the shift method. Okay, and yeah, so when we remove, we're going to have again the number variable, and then remove is going to equal that, and here's that, here's the 1. So we remove this one here, now it's here. Peak, peak is now looking at the front, right? So here's what we did in the diagram. The diagram is over here now, and everything moved up, okay? And then here's the 2. The 2 now should be peaking, and it is. That's what we have here when we call peak. That's in this method here. Size is going to be 4, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. And then we're toStringing it. We're going to look at it. We're going to let it print out. And there it is. There's our updated state for the queue. And we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the 1 obviously is gone because, well, we removed it. Okay, and then same thing here. This is just the same example with just different, you know, just doing it twice. Again, we're removing. We're going to console log what the remove is. The remove is 2 because, well, 2 is next in here, as you can see. Peak is 3 because that's the next one. And then the size is also going to be 3. And then there's our final state. Okay. And then if I was to, again, let's do the same thing. Let's go ahead and add a, let's add a value. Let's see where that's going to end up. So if I do that and I say q dot add, and let's add that 0 in again. Let's see where that ends up when we run it. And there it is. As you can see, it got pushed in the very back just like it would for the stack because again, it has to come in through the back, right? That's the thing with queues is you can only come in from the back and you can exit from the front here. Okay, but with a stack, it was different. In the stack, you have only one way to go in and out. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for stacks and queues. They're fairly straightforward. This diagram kind of summarizes everything that you guys really need to know for stacks and queues. And again, that's the biggest difference is this little thing at the bottom, and which way you can go in and out of, and then that's really all you need to remember. Um, and first in, first out, last in, last out, um, or last in, first out, I should say. And yeah, so all right. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. This code will be in your notes. Otherwise, yeah,